Well, today we take a look at the design and how I work with the scanned data from the last video. Here you can actually see the scan that you know from the last video already, and I will want to start with the module that goes over here in the front that will host the fridge. I designed it already, and this is what it looks like in the car. And for one moment I will blend out the car so we can take a closer look. Or actually, let's leave it on and just slice it in half so we now can see it properly. So let's start with the fridge down here. I designed it so that at least 3 different models of fridges will fit in there. And it's these 3. This is the cheapest one, but also the smallest. Then we have the Dometic one. That's probably the best known brand, I guess, but it's also the most expensive. And one in the middle range. This is actually the one my brother uses now for about a year, I guess, and he's very happy with it. So these 3 different models will fit in there, and you can basically choose from, and I will guarantee that they will fit into the car or into the conversion kit. So they are now all 3 in here, and you can see they are pretty similar, but one is quite a lot higher. And of course, when we don't use this tall one, well, we don't want to lose the space up here. So therefore, I designed it in a way so that you can mount this top drawer in 2 different positions, either in the high one when you need the space for the fridge, or in the lower one when you don't need the space because you have a lower or a less tall fridge. So I think that is pretty nice. Over here we have these little steps, and these are also to gain some space or to make it more space efficient. We have a little hole over here that's for one of the handles of the different fridges to fit in. The other ones you can dismount the handles. Down here it seems like we lose a lot of space, but actually we need the space for the cables or to plug in the fridge. And also therefore, if I hide the fridges again for a moment, there are these 2 rectangular holes that give you access to the plugs to plug in the fridge. And then you can just hide the cable in this little gap and, well, get to the next outlet in your car. And then there are these hexagonal holes. These are for ventilation because the fridges all have ventilation on the side as well as in the front and back, so it doesn't get too hot. On this side, this drawer slide is pretty high up. This is convenient because there you have a handle as well to open it, and this is in this way more reachable. But this has a different reason as well, and therefore I have to hide the bus in the background because the van has these pretty strange shapes in the inside. So the drawer slide that is over here and pretty long wouldn't fit down here because it was too long. Over there on the other side the slide fits in perfectly well, but on this side it just fits because I put it this high up. But that comes all together pretty nice. On this side I've also designed a little step in here to not lose this space over the whole height of the furniture or of the cupboard. So it gains a few millimeters again over here. And then we have these 2 shelves over here and the drawer in the top. Well, the drawer is actually hide currently. I will show it. Yeah, so here's the drawer, and we also have the drawer slides, of course. That's this one on the right and the left. And for all these drawers and lids, we use this mechanism which is called Everlock. It is this one. This is pretty nice because it just gets mounted to the back of the front, and you just need a hole in the front to put your finger through, and by pushing against it, it slides open this locking mechanism, and then you can pull open the drawer or the lid. That's pretty awesome. So we use these in here as well, and in the front here are the holes to reach in there with your finger. We don't need it for the fridge because we have it built into the slide over here. What's important or pretty nice as well is that when I turn on the car again, we have some pretty big storage built into the car already. And of course we don't want to lose this by the furniture we put inside. So this board we need for structural reasons over here isn't in the way to reach into these spaces that are built into the car as well. If I just hide the fronts again, here on the left you can just reach through your cupboard and put stuff into the original storage spaces. As well, if you pull out this drawer in the top, you can reach in here as well. So I think that's pretty nice. Now to the manufacturing. Therefore, I designed everything with little gaps. These are called tolerances in engineering, because the CNC machine is very precise but not absolutely precise. There may be some little errors of far less than a millimeter, and therefore are these little gaps that you won't see in the finished product, of course, but it makes it possible to slide all these parts together, hopefully at least. So now to produce all this, I want to use a CNC mill, and the CNC mill is a computer controlled milling machine. And by switching my working environment here in Fusion 360, you can see this milling machine actually that I will use at least in the beginning. And here are all the parts laid out, so we can mill them from our raw material, that's sheet stock material, and then it's pretty straightforward. We can simulate the process out the whole machine. It first drills all the holes and then basically cuts out the pieces. So that's everything at the computer, and now we will switch over to the CNC machine and actually see how these parts get cut out of the wood sheet. So now we're at the CNC machine. As you've seen, we've already loaded the sheet that we will use to cut out the parts. We now have to set our 0 point in the front left corner, and this part will be held down only by vacuum. That's awesome, as we don't need screws to fix the parts to the CNC machine, so they don't fly around when you cut them out. And I've already loaded the program that I did in Fusion 360 before, and we will use this tiny little router bit to cut out the parts. I think that's pretty mind-blowing that this should be able to handle it. Well, we will see if it is actually capable of doing that. And then we hit the start button and hope for the best, and hopefully everything goes well. Well, I'm not too happy. Not everything worked as smooth as I've hoped. I had a collision with one of the hexagonal shapes that came loose. That was not ideal. And also I forgot to tick one box in the programming in Fusion 360, so the order in which it cut out the parts wasn't ideal. So I'm not sure if the last part it cut out will be that precise. Also the 6mm holes, we needed to use actually a metal drill bit that's meant for metal. That didn't cut really nice holes, but that should be only cosmetic. So it kind of worked, but there's definitely room for improvement. We'll now take out the parts, clean up the mess. We still have to cut out the front pieces out of a different material, and then we'll take home all the parts into my workshop, where we will mount the parts together. Well, as I just mentioned, the first sheet worked out in the end, but was far away from ideal. But the second one doesn't work at all because we can't suck it properly to the table because it's quite bent. So we can't hold it properly down. And now the strategy is to take this home into my workshop to cut it once, because we actually just need a small corner of it, so the curve won't have such a big of an impact. So that's it already for this video. We luckily, or I'm happy that we at least finished these parts, and we will take this to my workshop as well, try to mount these and put them in the car, and that will be in the next video, of course. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.